Morning, Andrew. How are we doing? Thank you for hitting the lives already, buddy. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. Just a little bit of a pause there whilst I went onto Discord. I hope we are all well. Surprisingly, people seem to be forgetting about CPI figures. I think XRP is taking over the news a little bit, and CPI figures don't seem to be coming into much effect at the moment. But generally green today. XRP has done okay. Not testing its previous highs, but it's getting there. The 4-hourly is looking pretty good. The stochastic RSI is quite high. We'll see what happens. But of course, this is an interesting headline because it looks like the article that was filed 2 months ago is probably going to happen. So he's filed a motion. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. It's got to be passed as a bill to get rid of him. But who knows? Common sense might just prevail, but we'll see. Willie Barbosa, welcome, buddy. Good to see you. Hope you're well. Right, so I'm not sharing my actual screen this morning. It's just a very quick session with regards to XRP and a catch up for the morning. So, yeah, XRP news. Bill, the Hinman documents are going to be unsealed today, which means that we get a chance to find out what's in them. I think personally, just so you know, my viewpoint is that if a settlement was going to happen, it would have happened already before we get to see the documents. So I think we're going to trial on the merits of the case as it is, including the Hinman documents. The SEC are clearly happy to go to court on that. It's weird, actually. We're only on 7. It's very strange indeed. Sui Network's doing quite well. That's up 15%, but I don't really know why. Sui Network's tokenomics aren't great. It's too early to call what that token's going to do. I think maybe people are just buying the newer networks where there's been a dip, which would be understandable. They haven't seen a bull run before, but we've got the whole question of securities and things now as well. So I'm quite surprised at how strongly the market's bouncing back today, to be fair. We've had a few days of green candles on XRP, which is good to see, of course, with all the speculation. Bitcoin's had 3 green days in a row. We're on our 3rd green day in a row, I should say. If we can break up through 26.2, I'd be happier that we can go ahead and then sort of retest maybe 26.7. The stochastic RSI is very, very high though, so we'll see. Morning Ranch, how are we doing, buddy? Good to see you. Get on. Keku? Is that how you're saying it? That doesn't sound like a great name. Let's have a look. Okay, right, that looks like a complete shill from a shill group, so we won't be mentioning that one again. Yeah, that's a piece of shit. I'm good, thank you, Ranj. Yeah, just a quick session before the 9 to 5 kicks in, before it gets too hot. I can go and be bored at the 9 to 5. So all good. But yeah, we won't worry about that shill that just happened because it's an absolute piece of trash. So yeah, I mean, Bitcoin looking good. Stochastic RSI is high on the 4-hourly and the 2-hourly. And on the hourly, so we could see a pullback on Bitcoin. It is in the top of the local range on the 1 hour. If we go out to the daily on Bitcoin, we've got some room on the stochastic RSI. So I think maybe a quick reset today on the stochastic RSI for short term. But longer term, it looks like there is room for Bitcoin to go up. Of course, it's all going to depend really on the market makers and what they're doing. I don't know what the situation with regards to liquidity in longs and shorts is, so we'll have to wait and see there. Still holding on to portfolio of AVAX, Sol, Bitcoin, ETH and Crow. 2025 bull run. No one's gonna, anyone who says they can call the 2025 bull run and whether or not things are going to be good or bad, they're lying. I've got my favourites that I like for the next bull run. The holds that you've got there, metal boards, seem reasonable. I personally don't like Solana. I think AVAX was a disappointment, but that's not to say that they couldn't do well again. Bitcoin, ETH, strong foundations of any portfolio. Crow, I think, is risky. I don't like holding any centralized exchange tokens right now. The only one I'm holding, and I'll publicly admit to holding, is Swissborg, because you have to KYC to use it, and it's not a typical trading platform. It is a long-term investment platform. 9 to 5 at home today, got a few errands. Cool. Yeah, this heat is absolutely. I'm quite glad I'm not in the office because our aircon in the office isn't great. So, quite pleased to be at home. At least I can control what happens here. Thank you for smashing the likes, by the way, people. I do appreciate that. It looks like we're going to have a bit of a slow morning, so I do appreciate you being here. I appreciate your support as always. Just going to check in with some news articles just to see where we are. So it looks like the FCA are wading in the UK as well as to how things are termed in terms of crypto as well. So the FCA are currently looking at a proposition to stop marketing crypto as inflation resistant, which will be an interesting one because we've always said that obviously Bitcoin especially is a hedge against inflation. If the FCA say that we can't do that anymore, then obviously that's going to be a bit of a blow to marketing. It does seem like maybe even the UK are trying to keep control now. We're very pro crypto, but I think they're going to want to control it. Do I think Bitcoin will drop to 10k? I mean, looking at the chart, charts don't tell us a lot. I mean, we would have to go for like a 40% drop to get down to our previous 15k low. It's possible. I do think there's a massive area of support and resistance around about 20k, 21k. So even if we crashed real hard, I think I would like to see that hold. But there's lots of layers of resistance and support on the way down. So no one can really tell. But if we have a black swan event, like a major black swan event, maybe Binance, Coinbase, or someone else just close up shop and leave crypto, or even worse, go for Chapter 11, which I don't think they're likely to do because they are making money. It's their behaviours that are the issue. But we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. But I mean, it would be one heck of a drop to get us down that low. But ultimately, I think that would be a black swan event. It would happen very, very quickly. I think if we just slowly bled out, and I do think we'd do a dip again. I just don't think we'll dip that low, so it would have to be a black swan event. Morning, Tango Mike. I hope you're well, buddy. Just a short one today, so I'm on for about another 10 minutes. But just wanted to check in on XRP Day. It's also CPI Day, I think. CPI data comes out today. CPI figures, USA. Yeah, so the CPI figures are due out today at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. So we will get CPI figures today. So it's a bit unusual that the market's pumping because most of the things I'm looking at the moment are green, which is great on daily at least. On the hourly, we've got a few reds, but the daily is still very much green. So we'll see what happens when the CPI figures comes out. It might just be a quick pump before a crash. We'll have to wait and see what the CPI figures say. But yeah, so we've got XRP news and CPI, so we'll have to wait and see what happens there. There's going to be quite a lot of news this week. Anthony, thank you for the follow, buddy. I appreciate that. Thank you very, very much. Did I see about the Russian banks allowing crypto? I didn't see about Russian banks specifically allowing crypto, but of course we know that with the BRICS nations, they are working together on cryptocurrency, so it's not a surprise, with the Russian government that they would allow banks to start using crypto if that's the way the government are going to go. Ranj, thank you for dropping in, buddy. Appreciate you, 100%. Polygon Matic and Cosmos Atom, both great projects, both named by the SEC. But who knows what's going to come out of that? I mean, my fear for these projects that are being listed by the SEC is that they will undergo the same kind of price suppression for the next couple of years until those cases are resolved. They either need a press release saying that they are definitely not, and someone's made an error at the SEC by releasing that data, or they need the case to be resolved. I think Cosmos and Atom are going to be suppressed, along with all of those other projects. They may well miss the next bull run, just like XRP missed the last one. What cryptos would I invest in now for next bull run? I mean, of course, I can't give financial advice. I'm happy to share what I'm doing, but I cannot give financial advice. The only things I'm buying right now, and that's because my DCA is higher than the current price, is Polkadot and Moonbeam, because I like Polkadot long term, and I like Moonbeam as a means for Ethereum developers and projects to come across to use the Polkadot network. So I'm a big believer in those two. My Polkadot, I was buying up in the top of the bull run. My DCA until 4 weeks ago was like $20. When I realized how high that was, it's like I need to reduce that DCA. So I bought 25% of my holdings again, which reduced the DCA value by 20%. So that got down to $16. I've done the same again recently, a little bit, so reduced it to about $13. And if I can just reduce it whilst it's still kind of like $5 or less, I should be able to reduce it again by about another 20-30% next time I DCA. So we'll see. But yeah, I mean, Dot and Moonbeam for me, because I believe in them long term. They're not currently mentioned by the SEC. However, Polkadot came out quite a while ago and self-certified that they are not a security. They are a software as a service. They were consulting with the SEC, but that wasn't an official statement from the SEC. So there could still be a bit of backtracking, but Polkadot believe that they are currently classified as software as a service. That's not to say that they weren't initially a security, in which case they would probably have a fine at worst, I'd imagine. But they are now software as a service, so they should satisfy not currently being a security. Trying to reduce .dca, doing the same for Link. Do you think Link is good? Link's great. I mean, Chainlink as an Oracle service is built into so many different projects. Even like the top tier ones. I mean, a lot of things use Quant as an overlay technology. But I mean, Chainlink is in use with so many. You look at the list of partnerships that they've got. Those partnerships are where their Oracle services and interoperability services are used with all of those projects. I mean, they are phenomenal at building blockchain projects or helping to build them. So yeah, I think Chainlink's solid for me. It's got great utility. Is it a good time to get into it? I don't currently hold it. I don't really examine the price of Chainlink, to be fair. But I'd imagine, like the rest of the market, it's probably quite cheap right now. Let's just zoom out to the weekly and see where we are on Chainlink on the weekly. So we've almost reset down. I mean, there is quite a lot of support on the weekly chart at this level. I mean, $5. Yeah, $5 seems to be a very strong level of support. If it comes down further, we could see a lot cheaper, but that goes for the whole market right now. But Chainlink, I mean, it got up to like $53-54. I still think it will be around in some form. Will we see? The thing is, will Chainlink be used as much as it was if 95% of all these cryptos are securities or they just disappear because they're bust? Does Chainlink get back to that all-time high because there won't be as many projects to work with? Possibly not. But it's realistic, I think, to expect some kind of appreciation over time. Personal opinion, not financial advice, of course. Thank you for smashing these likes, people. We've suddenly jumped up in the lives. I appreciate you sharing and liking. You're absolute legends. I'm only here for another 5 minutes, but it's great to have you all here. Theta is one I literally know nothing about. I'm not familiar with Theta at all. It's something that's talked about quite a lot, but it's never been in kind of like my remit, my area to appreciate. Dreamer, good morning. I hope you're very well. And I hope you are all well to that degree as well. So obviously the headline in the background is about US lawmakers filing the Stabilization Act to fire Gary Gensler. This is something that was initially discussed 2 weeks ago. 2 months ago, but it has now happened. They filed the motion. I wouldn't get too excited about it happening quickly because at the end of the day, there was an act filed 2 years ago to classify crypto correctly. Nothing's happened with it. It's not moved since July 2021. So thoroughly unimpressed with bills put before Congress. The problem is you can put a bill before Congress, but if no one supports the motion, it's not going to go ahead. And it's an open timeline, basically. So we'll see. But it just helps voice the concern about Gary Gensler being charged with the SEC, I suppose, by filing it. Okay, so Bitcoin. Okay, so another headline I've got here is Bitcoin possibly consolidating within the 25.4 to 26.2 range. Let's go and have a look at that and see how true that is. 25.4 to 25.2. I'm going to need to go to the daily. Yeah, it's pretty much where we've been for a while. Yeah, we're kind of in a little bit of a mini channel right now. We just need to sit back and wait and see what happens. That headline is a bit of a nothing. That's a pretty obvious channel that it's sat in at the moment. Nothing moves in governments. I completely agree, Dreamer. I mean, I think the filing of this bill will raise awareness of people's discontent, but it won't result in anything. Certainly not his filing. Gary Gensler must be fired. Finish. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, if that bill gets passed, at least it's done by a more democratic process. So it's not just a guy in charge of the SEC. They'll have an executive board of directors, sort of, agreeing motions to be filed and actions to be taken, rather than just Gary sat at the top of the tree saying this is what we're doing. Now I think Gary's got a great track record in terms of the stock exchange markets and things like that, but at the end of the day, he seems to be struggling to grasp crypto for the USA, and the USA are getting left behind. We've seen headlines like Andreessen Horowitz moving their headquarters to the UK possibly. So he is starting to damage the US economy. So they've got to be careful with it. Firing him out of a cannon. I mean, it would be quite funny to see that, to be fair. Into the sun. I think XRP Ripple Army would love to see that happen. I personally think he's trying to do a job. He's put himself in a position that's difficult to backtrack. I don't listen too much to the news stories about he applied for a job at Coinbase and Binance and was turned down. That may or may not be true. Ultimately, it doesn't matter if he can back up his decisions as to why he's taking these actions legitimately. It doesn't matter. It's a bit of a no-brainer. Right, okay, let's have another look at Bubbles before I disappear. So Bubbles is still looking good on the hourly. There's quite a lot of green still, a little bit of red coming back from things that have done well over the last day or so. But yeah, we're generally green still. Remember, CPI figures at 8:30 a.m. West Eastern time. So CPI figures will have an impact on the market today. I don't know what figures we're expecting, but I hope they're pretty low, and then we can just keep the interest hikes low as well as a result. We want Gary to go, but how sure are we the next guy would be better? But yeah, this is it, Dreamer. It's kind of like I think a democratic leadership would be one thing, but you never know what you're going to get, do you? So I mean, at least you know with Gary Gensler, he just hates crypto. Either that or he just doesn't get it. So. One thing or the other. As he lectured in blockchain, it's kind of like a bit difficult to believe he doesn't get it. So yeah, it's a bit weird. I don't get the setup. It's a very bizarre thing. But yeah, we'll wait back and see what happens. As someone else said, nothing happens in government very quickly. They've now filed the bill, which was proposed two months ago. But we'll have to see if it gets support or not. If it doesn't get support, it won't go anywhere. So it needs to be supported through Congress. Right, okay, folks. I'm going to wind it up there. I'm going to go and log on for the 9 to 5. I appreciate you being here. Any headlines with the CPI, I will post a TikTok today. Of course, if anything happens with XRP today, I will communicate that as well. However, my personal opinion is that XRP will not settle today. That would have already happened. This is just the public unveiling of the documents. So I personally think most of this is going to go to trial. But yeah, any developments, I'll let you know. Likewise, if you don't hear anything from me and you here, drop something in the Discord. I'd love to be kept up to date. But I'll catch you all very, very soon. Take care. Have a good day.